What about Black Panther 2? Anything?
I'm dead.
Maybe it's because you're trying to do something right.
What might be said about Dark Puma? To anything perhaps, this is on the grounds that you're attempting to ever figure things out, and out of the blue Satan snag them out of that situation that is Denzel Washington discussing the Oscar revile and what it has meant for Hollywood's greatest stars, including Dark Jaguar symbol Chadwick Boseman, who unfortunately lost his life 2 years in the wake of winning the lofty honor, "May God favor you extremely and plentifully more in what the future holds than he at any point has before God favor you." The Oscar revile is something simply the boldest and greatest stars who has won the Oscar thinks for even a second to discuss a ton of times when individuals get the achievement and don't realize that the murkiness is coming. That is the point at which you see them excursion and fall. When individuals win an Oscar, a definitive dimness is they may not work again. The charm of the Oscars is unquestionable, yet as the brilliant statuette is held high, is there a sad remnant of a revile hiding behind the glinting exterior? And has it for sure impacted the demise of Chadwick Boseman? Stay close by to find out. To completely comprehend reality behind the Oscar revile, we should jump into the accounts of Hollywood's greatest stars and investigate the degree of this horrible revile. What might be said about Dark Jaguar? Also, we're not prepared for you to be dead. When Chadwick Boseman made that big appearance tolerating the Oscar for his arresting presentation, his tears were a blend of euphoria, shock, and colossal appreciation. The scene caught a man at the peak of his creative excursion. Yet, unfortunately, 2 years after the fact, the world would grieve the deficiency of this symbol. Denzel Washington, a genuine titan of the acting scene, has had his portion of encounters with the Oscars. In a new meeting, he focuses on the excursion and tensions that follow an Oscar win. Might this staggering strain at any point be a piece of what many call the Oscar revile? Consistently, the Oscar function commends the best in film, recognizing and respecting the people who have displayed unprecedented ability and commitment in different regions of the filmmaking system. With its fabulousness and marvelousness, the Oscar statuette stays an image of zenith accomplishment for entertainers and movie producers anyway. In the midst of the sparkling charm, a haze of strange notion lingers the purported Oscar revile. Yet, what is the Oscar revile truly? Have you known about the Oscars revile, this truly insane peculiarity? Just after he win a foundation grant, your vacation goes downhill. Don't accept me the number of Institute grant champs. Might you at any point name, all things being equal to the web? The Oscar revile alludes to a progression of lamentable occasions that appear to torment a huge second number of Oscar victors. Post their triumph, these sad occasions length from the experts. For example, declining vocation directions or absence of huge jobs to the individual, like bombed connections or other individual difficulties. Yet the thing may be causing this apparent revile. One potential clarification lies in the gigantic assumptions that go with an Oscar win. For the majority, winning an Oscar isn't an award, yet a groundbreaking second setting a benchmark. Until the end of their vocations, this tremendous tension can prompt selectivity in jobs, which may unintentionally diminish the quantity of movies an entertainer takes on, consequently causing it to appear to be like their profession has slowed down anyway. These expert difficulties just start to expose what's underneath. There's additionally a profoundly private perspective to the Oscar revile. The enormous media examination, the uplifted public assumption, and the individual strain to do something extraordinary can be a significant weight, in some cases appearing in private difficulties and medical problems. The instance of Jamie Foxx is especially fascinating. Foxx, a sensational ability, has frequently spoken about the novel difficulties dark entertainers face in Hollywood. In a noteworthy TikTok conversation, Foxx digs into the repercussions of dark entertainers winning the Oscars, underlining the elevated investigation and assumptions. Not long after his own Oscar win, Foxx experienced a stroke, which many guessed was because of the anxieties and tensions of his raised status. I went through something that I figured I could never at any point go through one more entertainer whose name springs up when talk while discussing the Oscars is Chadwick Boseman. Have everything blasting onto the worldwide realistic scene with champion jobs. For example, Jackie Robinson in 42 inches. And Lord T'Challa in Dark Puma Boseman's vocation was on a relentless climb. His unfortunately untimely passing in 2020 drove numerous to return to the story of the Oscar, revile trying to wrestle with his misfortune. Yet how firmly was Boseman associated with this? Supposed revile the revile is referenced in relationship with Boseman arose emphatically post-mortem as he was granted the Oscar for Best Entertainer for his job in Moraine's Dark Base in 2021. Boseman's passing from colon disease. In 2020 proceeding, he could by acknowledge or praise this honor brought the idea of the Oscar revile once again into public talk. He did everything he could do with what he was given. And he passed on it here for us to appreciate. Emergency room didn't follow the customary account of the Oscar, revile regularly. The revile alludes to a decrease in proficient open doors or nature of jobs in the wake of winning the Oscar for Boseman. The circumstance was different. He was post-mortem regarded with the Oscar after a progression of widely praised exhibitions. His part in Marini's Dark Base was generally perceived as a summit of his acting ability, where he diverted profundities of feeling and shown remarkable reach. The sad and troublesome nature of his passing positioned him targeted of the condemnations hypothesis, not due to a decrease in his vocation, but since of the misfortune that he was unable to delight in his merited snapshot of magnificence. Chadwick's circumstance stresses a more nuanced side to the Oscar revile conversation on the off chance that it is to be sure genuine anyway. There is another entertainer we need to reveal insight into while discussing the Oscar revile Will Smith when Satan comes at you. Perhaps this is on the grounds that you're attempting to ever figure things out, and for reasons unknown Satan snagged Will Smith, once affectionately known as the new ruler, is certainly one of Hollywood's most magnetic and skilled stars. From his initial days in the music business to his consistent change into acting, Smith's profession direction has been out and out rusing, yet like many stars before him, Smith's Oscar win and the wild occasions that followed feature the duality of unequaled achievement and unmatched examination. When Will Smith was granted an Oscar, it was a milestone second in his vocation, an acknowledgement that was very much past due for the vast majority of his fans. His acknowledgement discourse stays carved in open memory, catching a man profoundly thankful, lowered, and noticeably moved by the honor. It was a vital crossroads for Smith, as well as for the endless fans who had traveled with him throughout the long term. The world watched, celebrated, and luxuriated in his brilliance. Anyway, the Oscars would before long turn into a ground of critical contention for Smith. In a second that nearly eclipsed his fantastic win, Smith slapped comic Chris Rock over a joke made about his better half, Jada Pinkett Smith. This occurrence, broadcast live to millions all over the planet, became one of the most discussed occasions of the evening. In the event that not the year hung around here, gracious Richard applause, gracious wow the slap, and the ensuing responses it evoked both from VIPs present and from the worldwide crowd were enraptured. Some understand Smith's apparent protection of his significant other's distinction, while others censured the go about as unseemly and unsuitable. For particularly on a face as venerated as the Oscars, the episode turned into a lightning bar for conversations on different subjects, from the limits of comedic simmering to the fittingness of public showdowns. Soon after the episode, more layers of this mind-boggling story disentangled. It was uncovered that Smith and his significant other Jada had been encountering conjugal difficulties. Jada's read casual conversation episodes where she transparently talked about private and conjugal issues. Incorporating her snare with another man had recently drawn in media consideration. Now, With the Oscar occurrence, the couple's very own life turned out to be considerably more strongly examined, filling theories and conversations on their connections. Elements the way that I'm addressing you again is a wonder I would concur the abrupt flood in media consideration. After the Oscar winning episode can end without a doubt be overpowering superstars, while acquainted with the spotlight could in any case find the power of such examination, smothering each activity past or present is taken apart, every statement dissected, and each relationship detail poured over Smith's victorious Oscar win was unexpectedly eclipsed by debates both on the expert and individual front. The difference between Smith's most noteworthy expert accomplishment and individual battles fills in as a strong sign of the capricious idea of popularity. Might we at any point characteristic this to the heaviness of post-Oscar assumptions? Or is it the intrinsic idea of Hollywood, where individual resides frequently eclipse proficient achievements out in the open talk, inside the more extensive story of the Oscar? Revile Smith's post-win experience adds one more layer of intricacy, while his expert difficulties subsequent to winning